And if you fall into any of those categories of the people that I described, you need to get yourself together, please. Hi guys, how is everyone doing? If you haven't caught my last video, it was getting ready to do this. So now I have gotten ready. So I'm ready to tell y'all a client story time. So if I look the same, it's because I am, okay? So today I decided to do a client story time because, to be honest, y'all, this has been an experience that happened a while ago. And for the sake of like being cool with the client, I never told this story. But considering she's talking bad about me, we're no longer cool. So we're gonna tell the story because I'm telling y'all, like, I didn't say this story because I was just trying to be, you know, like, even though like I had a bad experience at her house and everything, I didn't want to, you know, talk bad about her or talk bad about the experience, you know, just in case she ever came across this video. But it's like, you're talking bad about me anyway, so I don't care if you ever come across this video. I should use your real name, to be honest. So anyway, let's get into it, shall we? So for the sake of today, we are gonna call this woman Selena. So Selena was when I knew Selena when I was working at that one job that I told y'all. I forgot what I named my story times. The one that I made the vlog about, and then I told y'all I quit after 3 months. That was this same job, okay? So I knew Selena because she was like a independent contractor, I guess you could say. Like, she didn't work for the actual company. She was like working for somebody else, but they like hired people. You know how like contracting works, you know? So technically I would see her regularly enough to call her a coworker because she worked in the same building, but she wasn't a coworker. So I was very hesitant to take people like coworkers. I was very hesitant to take them as clients. And obviously against my better judgment, because Lord, I need to stick to my guns. I'm such a pushover, but I, you know, typically didn't want people to know that I did hair. And then I did one person's hair and it spread like a wildfire that I was a hairstylist. So at the time I was poor too. So I, like, when people would come up to me and ask me to do their hair, I was just hollering out numbers. They were willing to pay it. So I was just like, okay, like, cool, I'm gonna do it and make some extra money. So that happened to be the same kind of scenario that Selena came into. So she was basically hearing around the workforce, the workplace, that I was doing people's hair. And so she comes up to me, and y'all know I was a receptionist. So she comes up to the desk and she's asking me, you know, a couple questions about like my process, like what do I do? Do I do keratin treatment? Whatever. So we're just talking about hair, and I exchanged information with her. And I just told her to hit me up whenever she wanted me to do her hair and whatever. So when we were doing that little back and forth where she's asking me like, oh, what kind of services I do and this, that, and the third, she was asking me if I go to people's houses or do they come to mine. And I was like, no, you definitely not coming to my house. Like, what? I go to yours. And so she was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna let you know because I want to do my hair, but I want to do it like when no one's home, so that way like I don't have to deal with everybody in the house, because she lived with her family, as in like her mom, her sister, it was like her son, like it was like a whole group of people that lived in that house. So she didn't want me to come over when everybody was home, which I actually respected that, because as you can see with this story, where the story is going, I really don't like doing people's hair, especially when their family's home. Sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry if anything changed like within the video and stuff in editing, because I'm exporting the video that I just recorded, and for whatever reason, the computer was just like, it sounds like it's about to take off, and it's just like that loud rustling noise. So I'm sorry for that last clip and that last little bit where you're just hearing like that air. It sounds like air conditioning is blowing. I had to like move everything around, move the computer, but like keep it plugged in because my hard drive so I could export the video. It was just a hot mess. Okay, so I'm so sorry. Anywho, back to the story time, okay? So basically she was letting me know that she did not want, you know, anybody at the house or whatever. And I respected that because, you know, I like to avoid any contact with any third parties, okay? So whatever, Selena hit me up and she was like, hey, I was just wanting to know if you could dye my hair black. And I was like, yeah, of course, like no problem. So that's exactly, you know, I got my products and everything, and she asked me how much it was going to be. Now, for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna say $100, right? I was like, it's gonna be $100. And so she was like, oh, okay, no problem. All right, cool. So I get the stuff, I bought the hair dye, I got everything that I needed for her, cool, boom, bang, pow. Packed everything up, we set the date for the appointment, and so she sent me the address. So when I sent her the address, I pull up and it's this really nice house, you know, but there was like nowhere for me to park. So I like call her, which is like not really, it's like kind of typical to be honest, especially here in Miami, just like, I don't know what it is. I know what it is. Like everybody here is like 10 million people living in one person's house. So it's like one house could easily have 7 to 10 cars. And I'm not exaggerating. Like it's usually typical. So you don't really have anywhere to park. So when I called her, I was like, hey, I'm out front. I just, you know, wanting to know like where should I park? So right off the bat, she tells me to park in the grass like a little bit past her house because she was kind of like on the end of a street. So like she wasn't like a corner house, but she was on the end of the street where like they had like longer grass area. So she told me to go ahead and park there. So off rip, I was like kind of annoyed because I have a whole train case. I have a whole thing. Like I have all this equipment and you want me to park in the grass all the way over here. Like it wasn't next to the house. It was like weird. I don't know how to explain it because it wasn't far. Like it wasn't a far walk, but at the same time, like when you have all this stuff, like it kind of was. So whatever, didn't, you know, make a big deal about it or anything. It was just kind of like an inconvenience. So I get my stuff out. I like, you know, taking it through the grass and I start walking up to her house. All right, cool. So as soon as I walk into her house, she's like, hey, just come follow me. And so basically the way the house was set up, I don't know if there is like this anywhere else, but like in Florida, it's like very common to have, I forgot what it's called, like multi-family home, where it's like part of the house is like a little mini apartment and then like the other house is like a whole house, you know what I mean? So basically she was just like, that's how the house was set up. So we were walking through the living room and then we're walking through the kitchen. So as we're walking through the kitchen, there is an older woman. And I'm walking, you know, through or whatever. And Selena was like, oh, this is my mother-in-law, whatever. She doesn't need a name, grandma, whatever. So she's like, oh, grandma, this is Samantha. She's doing my hair. And I immediately, like as soon as she says, oh, this, she's going to do my hair, she was like, oh, where did you find her? Some high school? And I'm like, okay, like whatever. I didn't even acknowledge that comment. I didn't say anything. She was like, oh, hello, hi. And I was like, hi, nice to meet you. Trying not to even like entertain her, to be honest, because she was sitting on the couch. It was the whole like family room and stuff, because it was like the kitchen and then like there was like a living room. And so she was like, we were walking through the kitchen and she was like in the living room or whatever. So she was like talking to her like on the side, and all I hear is like, well, at least she's professional, like she came like prepared. And I'm like, bro, okay, whatever. Y'all are talking amongst each other. I'm just standing here because when we were walking through, I was under the impression that we were just gonna do her hair in the kitchen, okay? Because the way she was walking through. So like we're walking through the house, here's the kitchen, and then like that old is sitting on the couch, and she's making all these little unnecessary comments from the couch while I'm standing in the kitchen. So while they're going back and forth, like after like she introduced me and she made that stupid comment, then that's when she was like telling her, like, that's, they were talking amongst each other, but that's when I heard like, oh, at least she came prepared. Mind you, this is all in Spanish, okay? So boom, I'm not gonna say what these women were, but they weren't Puerto Rican, okay? So I was talking to Selena because Selena didn't speak English. So I was talking to Selena, and I was basically, like I said, I was under the impression that we were going to do this in the kitchen. So I'm unloading everything and I'm setting everything up on the counter. And so we're just like talking, but like Selena's doing a whole bunch of other stuff while we're like talking, but while I'm unpacking my things. And so while we're talking, the grandma was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from here." Like, I never know when people ask me like where I'm from, because it's like, yes, I'm Puerto Rican, but I was born and raised here. My mom and dad are Puerto Rican. Like, I never understand where that comment can go, and I never know what people are saying, because anytime I say like, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm from Puerto Rico, because technically I'm not, because they're going to be like, oh, you live there or whatever. I didn't live in Puerto Rico. I lived here. So, you know, like that whole thing. So she was like, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from here. And like here, whatever, you know? And she was like, no, like what is that accent? What is that accent? And I was like, oh, my mom and dad are from Puerto Rico. And she was like, that's why you don't speak good Spanish. And I'm just like, look, lady. So when she said that, Selena comes back and she was like, you know what, Samantha, let's go somewhere else. Let's go somewhere else. Because I didn't even respond to that old woman. Like, I'm not about to sit here and do this. Especially, this ain't even my house. But like, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you, old lady. So Selena was like, you know what, Samantha, let's do this somewhere else. Just grab your stuff and we can go somewhere else. So I'm thinking we're going to go to another room. We're going to go to another area, you know, because this is like a decent sized house. So I'm thinking we're going to go somewhere else. Why did she open the back door? And she was like, here, just come on. And I was like, wait, we're going to do this outside? And she was like, yeah, we have outlets and stuff outside. Like, you can look, we have a table. You could just set it up and we could do it outside. And like, in the moment, like, say what you want. In the moment, I just didn't even say anything. Like, I just went outside. I did, okay? Like, I can't even, I'm not even gonna sit here in front like I put up a fight or like I said something. No, I went outside, okay? So we're outside and I'm just setting up, and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, that's why I didn't want people there, because this is not her mom. This is her husband's mom. So she was like, I'm so sorry. Like, they have no manners. They have no home training. Like, I can't stand living here. Like, I just can't wait for her to leave, blah, blah, blah. And she was talking about this lady. Like, that lady did not live there. That lady had a room. She had all her stuff there. So it's like, are you waiting for her to, like, is that what you mean? You can't wait for her to leave? Because she doesn't look like she's moving anytime soon. So, but anyway, so she's just like complaining about that. And I just like, you know, I was like, oh, it's no big deal, like whatever. And I start setting up some of like my stuff. So she was like, when I was pulling out my colors, she was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. I brought my own. And I was like, oh, no, like, I just like using my own color. Like, you know, that's what I'm charging you for, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, no, like, I have my own. So this lady pulls out a box, 2 boxes of Revlon black box dye. And she was like, no, I want you to use these. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, I guess, you know, whatever. If you want me to use black box dye on your hair, like, go for it. If you want to put Revlon on your hair, that's your problem. You know what I mean? You're just paying me to put it on. Cool. But I'm still going to charge you because I definitely still bought these. Like, girl, what? So she was like, okay, so like how much cheaper is it going to be now that I gave you my own boxes? I was like, oh, the price is going to stay the same, girl. Like, and realistically, you're not like, yeah, you're kind of paying for product, but like, ma'am, you're really paying for me to drive all the way to your house, set all this stuff up, and you know, my level of expertise, you know what I mean? Because I was also giving her a haircut and I was giving her a blow dry. So I'm like, realistically, even I took a, realistically, if I, Jesus, I cannot talk. Realistically, even if I did take off that price for the color, like, ma'am, that's only gonna take you off like $10. Like, sorry. So she was like, yeah, because when you told me $100, like, I just felt like that was too much. And she said it just like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I sent you the price. Like, I said it was $100 when we were texting. If you did not like that price, you could have said that like before. We could have spoke about this beforehand. You don't just wait until I pull up and then tell me, like, because that's just not cool. Like, you know what I mean? But the interaction wasn't like, she wasn't disrespectful. She wasn't rude. Like, it was just kind of like, she was giving me like, what the heck kind of thing, but it wasn't anything crazy. I didn't have any problems with her, and I wasn't like offended that she was doing that. I was just like, no, girl, like, I'm sorry. So that's what I told her. I was like, yeah, I hear you, like, maybe next time, but no, as far as like right now, like, my price is still $100. It's still gonna be $100. And she was like, oh, okay, like, well, now I know for next time, but I still want you to use the Revlon. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So boom, we're in the middle of doing, you know, her hair in the backyard in Miami, Florida, y'all, okay? I'm doing hair in her backyard. So that's my fault. I can't even say nothing. You know, I'm trying to make it seem like it was, you know, her fault. It was my fault. I should have never agreed to doing it in the backyard, but that's on me. Like, whatever, I'll take it. So as I'm doing her hair, we're just chilling in the backyard. I'm just finishing up and everything. And, you know, we hear somebody pull up, obviously, because we're outside. We can hear what's going on. So we hear somebody pulling up or whatever, and she's like, oh, that's probably my husband. And I was like, oh, okay, like, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. So we're hearing, because the screen door was like closed, but like the main door was open. So I'm hearing this man like stomping through the house, I guess. And he goes to the woman, the old lady sitting down watching TV. He was like, where's Selena? Where's Selena? And then the old lady was like, oh, she's in the backyard. So as soon as she tells him that, he like busts the screen door open, and he's like, Selena, whose car is that? Whose car is that? And she was like, oh, it's Samantha's. Like, it's her, the girl is doing my hair. And he was like, okay, well, hi, Samantha, you need to move your car. First of all, hi, hello, how are you? Good to meet you. And second of all, like, I'm in the middle of doing your wife's hair. Like, I don't know what you expect from me right now, but like, I'm mid doing her hair. Like, gloves are wet, you know, I'm in the middle of dyeing her hair. Like, I don't know, you want me to take these gloves off and go move my car right now? No. So I was like, oh, well, I can't right now. And then Selena was like, oh, no. Like, she needs to leave her car there because she's doing my hair. She's going to be here for a while, and I don't want her to get a ticket. And he was like, well, I had to walk even further. Like, I always park my car there. I don't know why you would tell somebody to park their car where I always park my car. Can you do this some other time? Can you, like, do this when I leave? Like, so now it's, like, really uncomfortable because I'm just, like, here with this woman while her husband is yelling at her about my car. Like, it was just really, really awkward, okay? I just disregarded that. And so she was like, hey, I'm sorry, but when you get done, can you move your car? And then I'm like, I don't know where else to move it because they had so many cars, y'all. Like, and then that was another thing. Like, there was so many cars, but like, there was nobody at the house. So besides the old lady and Selena and now her husband. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So I was just like, no, I can't move my car because I don't have anywhere else to go. Like, there's no parking in the street. There's no parking in the garage. Like, there is no other place to park the car. So she was like, oh, okay, don't worry about it then. Like, just leave it where it's at. Like, he'll be fine. I'm like, of course he's gonna be fine. Like, relax, dude. I'm leaving in a couple hours. Like, you will be okay. So Whatever, fast forward, she's processing, she's, doing her thing or whatever, and it's time to shampoo her hair. So typically I always just shampoo my clients in their kitchen sink. Like, everybody pretty much has like a regular kitchen sink that like it detaches so you can just like use it to wash their hair. I've always used a kitchen sink every single time that I've, did a client. So we come back inside, mind you, while I'm doing her hair, while we're processing all that, we are outside. We did not go back inside, not once, okay? So now we're going back inside, and the grandma was cooking food. So I was like, hey, where do you want to rinse your hair out? Because, she's cooking. And so she was like, oh no, we'll just move all the dishes out of the sink and stuff. And like, you can just wash my hair real fast, like through here. So I was like, oh, are you sure? Because like, she's frying stuff, like she's doing stuff in the kitchen, and the way their kitchen was set up, like it was like an L. So like the sink was right here, and then the oven and stove and stuff that she was frying stuff on, like, were really close proximity. So she was like, yeah, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. So while I'm like getting the stuff, I'm getting the shampoo, I'm like grabbing my towels and everything, I'm about to move back inside. Mind you, the screen door is open. So they're like going back and forth, the grandma and Selena. She was like, no, the grandma was like, no, you see that I'm doing hair? I don't want your hair flying in my food. That's disgusting. You're crazy if you're gonna think that I'm gonna let her wash your hair in the sink in the kitchen. That's disgusting. Da 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 da. I'm just in the back like pretending to do stuff because I'm like, I'm not gonna walk into this. Like, this is so awkward already. Like, I don't get it. So in my head this whole time, I'm like, okay, I knew that you said that like you didn't want your people to be home, but like if your people were gonna be home, like you could have rescheduled this. I didn't come here for this. So she was like, hey Samantha, what I'm gonna do instead is I'm just gonna like jump in the shower. Like, I'm just gonna wash my hair myself in the shower, so that way we don't have to do it in the kitchen. And I was like, okay. Like, so I give her the shampoo and I give her the conditioner, and I was just like, just rinse your hair out really good, and then like when you're done, just come back out or whatever. So that was like the deal we decided to make. And she was like, okay, you can just go ahead and have a seat like on the couch, and like I'll be right out, don't worry, okay? And I was like, okay. So now I'm just sitting in this woman's house with her grandmother, or not grandmother, but like grandma was cooking, and her husband, the one that was like yelling and stuff, is just sitting there at the counter while his mom is cooking his dinner. And so I'm just sitting on the couch watching whatever was on their TV. So like, I'm not really paying attention, and I'm just like sitting there just on my phone very awkwardly, like, because they weren't trying to talk to me either, because I was trying to be like, hi, like, how's it going? And he's just like, And it was just very uncomfortable and unwelcoming, right? So I'm sitting on the couch and I'm just, watching this or whatever. And I hear the door open. And it was her son, okay? Her son comes in with this dog, this ginormous dog. And I'm a dog lover. I love me some, puppies. I love dogs. I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of big dogs. I'm not scared of little dogs. I love, the animals, the canines. This dog rips through the house, right? From the front door, he like comes in, and then he starts jumping on me. He's like on top of me, and I'm just like, aha, because like I don't really care. Like, I'm a dog person, so it doesn't really bother me that much. So I'm just like, oh, hi, puppy. Hi, how are you? Like, that whole thing. And so her son, while he's walking in, he was like, who's that? So I was like, hey, I'm your mom's hairstylist. I'm just, doing her hair for a little bit. And he was like, okay, so where's she at? And I'm like, oh, she's just rinsing her hair out. I don't know, she'll be back in a little bit. And he was like, oh, okay. So I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, I was I was sinking into that couch like, can you please hurry up? Please hurry up. So while I'm like sinking into the couch, I have this dog on top of me. I'm with these 3 rude people that live in their house. Like, I'm just sitting here just awkwardly. And like the dog, you know, is very hyper. It was a big dog. So her son opens the screen door to the backyard. Mind you, that's where all my stuff is at. And this dog, you know, being a dog, runs out and knocks all my stuff over. Like the color, the towels, the product, everything. Knocks everything over. And her son, like, cause he has the screen door open and he's halfway in the house, halfway outside. He was like, oh, that's your stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, well, you gotta go pick it up. So at this point, like, as you guys can imagine, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it at all. I'm over it. I'm actually very sick of it, to be honest. So I was like, okay. So I go outside and I start picking up the stuff and I'm just done. I'm so emotionally drained. I'm exhausted already. I'm sick of it. I don't want to be there anymore. And for whatever reason, this lady is taking like an hour to rinse her hair off, okay? So finally, Selena comes back out and she was like, hey, like, were you able to meet my son? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, he's so sweet. I love when he comes to visit. He's spending the night tonight. And she's talking about her son like he is just the nicest, sweetest little peach. And I'm like, I'm glad you think about him that way, because what? So whatever, I'm like getting everything ready to start the blow dry. And she was like, hey, do you mind if I eat something real fast? So she asked me if I mind if she eats something real fast. And I was like, honestly, like, I just want to go ahead and get your hair done. So like, if you don't mind, it's not going to take that long. I'm just going to get it ready and then I'll be able to go and then you can eat your food or whatever. And so she was like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. So immediately I'm ripping through her hair. Like I'm blow drying her hair. I like did the quickest blow dry I've ever done in my whole entire life because I'm ready to get out of there. I don't want to be there anymore. These people are so rude, so disrespectful, and it's just uncomfortable. Like I'm just in a very uncomfortable situation. You know what I mean? So, and this is exactly like the whole time I'm like, this is why I don't do house calls. This is why I don't do house calls. This is why I don't do house calls. So as I'm doing like her hair and everything, I'm just ripping through it. You know, obviously I'm not, you know, like ripping her hair out, but I'm going as fast as I can. And she was like, do you think you could do a haircut? And I was like, I did that haircut in 2 seconds because she didn't have a lot of hair. It was like really easy to do. But I was just trying to get in and get out as soon as I possibly can. Okay. And then here comes the grandma. Like I'm almost done with Selena's hair. And here comes her grandma. Not the grandma. I keep calling her grandma, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. Here comes this old lady. You know, the same one that told me, you know, like all this stuff that like she found me in high school. Like at least I'm professional and like I don't speak good Spanish because I'm Puerto Rican, you know, whatever. That whole thing. Here this woman comes and she goes, Amanda, right? And I was like, Samantha. And she was like, do you think you could give me a quick haircut? Just a quick one. It's not anything crazy. Like, I want a quick haircut. And I was like, oh, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to be able to. Like, I'm running out of time. I have to go, you know, really soon or whatever. And she, like, scoffs. Like, she's like, you see? And then she just walks back inside. And I'm like, so you, like, this is how you thought I was going to do your hair? You thought that was going to get me to do something for you? Lady, please. Like, please. I was, oh my God. So after that, like, I was so shut off. I was so over it. I wanted nothing to do with these people after this entire experience. I was like, this is so uncomfortable. I don't understand why these people are so rude and just like ill-mannered. It's so annoying. So I like finished her hair. I was done. I was good to go. So I packed all my stuff together and I was like, hey, Selena, it's going to be $100. Like, and she's like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm just waiting for my sister-in-law to get here because she can Zelle you the money. And I was just like, okay, like whatever works, like just, you know, let's go. Let's get this show on the road. So this is the part that honestly, like, this is the part that makes me the most mad. So I already had my stuff packed up. I'm just kind of like waiting around. Her husband and his mom, the old lady, are just sitting on a couch watching TV. Her son's like eating. She's eating. And then her sister-in-law comes in. Her sister-in-law comes in and she's just, you know, this big personality. She's just like, oh, hey, everybody. She's talking to her son, Selena's son. She was like, oh, how was your day? Da, da, da. Mind you, she's just speaking Spanish and everybody's speaking Spanish back to her. And so I was just like, hi. And so I'm just sitting here, you know, minding my business. I'm on my phone waiting for Selena to tell this woman to sell me my money, you know, because I wasn't about to leave until I got my money. So sorry. Like, as much as of a rush I was trying to be in, I was not about to leave until I got my money. So I'm just sitting there, you know, on my phone or whatever. And so she's like whispering to her son, not Selena, the lady, her sister-in-law, whispering to her, like, who's that? But this is all in Spanish, mind you. She's like, who's that? And her son was like, I don't know, some girl that's doing her hair or something like that. And she was like, oh, where did she get her from? Like, she got her from high school? Like, she just went down the street and told this girl to come over to our house to come do her hair? Like, what? That's so weird. And then I'm just staring at them at this point. I'm just looking at them. And then the lady was like, she looks at me and she was like, how are you doing today? And so I responded, she said that in English, and I responded in Spanish. And I was like, oh, I'm doing good. How are you? And she was like, oh, where are you from? I didn't know you spoke Spanish. I didn't know you spoke Spanish. And then Selena's just sitting there like, I don't understand the concept of like, if you know your family is not welcoming, you know your family has like absolutely no home training, like why would you even put me in this position? Like, honestly and truly, I could have just saved this entire thing. Like, I did not have to do your hair. Like, so she was like, oh, I didn't know you spoke Spanish, blah, blah. I just have the biggest attitude with her. Like, I didn't care. And then I was just like, Selena told me that she's waiting on you so you could send the payment to my phone. And she was like, well, I don't know why Selena told you that she need to wait on you. Why do you need to wait on me? This is not, you didn't do my hair. You didn't do my hair. Why are you waiting on me? And so Selena was like, oh, it's because like you owe me that money from last time, so that money that you owe me, you can just send it to her so that way like I can get my hair done. That's what I was thinking. And so the woman is like, I guess. And now she's trying to be like funny. She was like, I mean, I guess, you know, if that's how she wants to do it, like I guess I gotta pay you. You did her hair, huh? So I'm the one that has to pay you. And I was just like, I wasn't giving her no play. I really did not care. I was just like, let's wrap this up. Like, okay, whatever. And she was like, well, you know, I only owe her $100. So that doesn't include a tip, Selena. Selena, if you wanted to give her a tip, that wasn't included because I only owe you $100. So all I'm sending is $100. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just letting you know that I'm just only sending you $100. Like, I'm just, you know. I hate when people do that. I hate when people do that because it's like, I'm not trying to be rude. If you have to preface whatever it is that you're saying by I'm not trying to be rude, like I hate when people do that. Or like, it's like you're acknowledging that what you're saying could be taken a type of way, but you're still gonna say it anyway and try to be like funny, and you're trying to think that like we're gonna have this conversation and you think I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I know, right? No, just pay me so I can go. Like, I don't want this. I don't want to interact with you. This is ridiculous. And she was like, so as I'm waiting for her to like sell me the money, she was like, how much do you even charge? Do you charge? Because like, look at my hair. Look at my hair. Like, I have good hair. I have good hair. I don't have that bad hair. I have good hair. So like, it's going to be cheaper for me, right? Like, how much do you think it would do like for you to do a keratin treatment on me? Ma'am, it wouldn't, $1 million couldn't get me to even have a conversation with you, okay? Like, what is this? So I was like, oh, I don't do keratin treatments. Like, I don't like doing keratin treatments. Like, they're not good for your hair, and I don't like to do them. And she was like, what kind of hairstylist are you? You don't do keratin treatments. You got to do what the people want. I mean, what do you expect? You think that you're going to make money only doing what you like to do? No, you got to do what the people are asking you to do. So, I mean, I was just trying to get you to get money. Like, I was trying to make you money, but, you know, and then she starts turning over to the son and the father, and she, like Selena's husband, and she was like, I guess now the stylists nowadays, they do what they want to do on people's hair. You don't, what's the point of having clientele? You might as well just do your own hair if that's how you're going to be. I don't know if y'all send money through Zelle, but it takes 2 seconds. You just put my phone number, you verify that it's me, you put in the amount, and you send. There is no reason that this should be taking as long as it is. And like, I really don't need this. Like, I don't need to sit here and like, I don't care. I just want to go. Like, so I was like, like, just go ahead. Just waiting for the payment, because like, I'm not trying to go back and forth with you, because then like, you're not gonna try to pay me. So I was just like, So she finally sends the money through Zelle, and I was like, okay, well, bye, Selena. And I just took off. I took off. I did not care. I didn't say anything else. I was like, all right, bye, Selena. And I walk out, and I walk over to like my car. I put all my stuff in, and I dipped out. Okay, completely left. Okay. Now, mind you, like I said at the beginning of the story, I didn't want to tell this because even though I had a bad experience like at her house, I didn't hold it to her. Like, I just, you know, you just live with a bunch of barbarians that have no manners. You know, that's not your fault. You didn't do anything to me, kind of. So I never felt no type of way. And I also did not tell anybody. Like, I did not gossip about this. I did not tell other clients that like who I like went to their houses and stuff. Like, I did not say anything about this lady. And every time I saw Selena, when we like, she would come to our job, I would always be nice to her. It was never nothing, because my issue was never with you, like, per se. So, you know, I always thought that we were cool. Come to find out, she's talking bad about me to another client who I just don't even do her hair anymore. She asked me to do her hair one time, and that was it. But like, I found this out through the grapevine, that she's telling other people, she's like, oh yeah, like, I mean, she did an okay job, but like, I think she thinks she's worth too much, because she wanted me to pay her way more than what I thought it was. And that's why, you know, she was gonna charge me for this, basically talking bad about me for my prices, and how she didn't think that what I did was even like worth what she paid for. And I'm on this high horse. And then she made like a comment, because the whole reason I know that this is true was because she made a comment to my client, one of my loyal clients, saying like, oh yeah, she doesn't even do keratin treatments. That's how I knew. That's how I knew that she, like, that was for real. She was talking bad about me, because my client, I never even talked about a keratin treatment to the client that told me that she was talking bad about me. And y'all see why I don't want to do hair no more? Do y'all see? It's so annoying. These people are so freaking annoying. And it's just like, all I did was exist. All I did was exist. These people came and they started attacking me. They started antagonizing me. And at the end of the day, I did not say anything. I didn't do anything. I came, I did my job, and I was, you know, just going with the flow of life, and, you know, just trying to get some money. And look at that. You can never win, I swear. But anyway, y'all, that was that story time. I'm glad I could finally get it off my chest because these people were so disrespectful. I'm so sorry. And if you fall into any of those categories of the people that I described, you need to get yourself together, please. Okay? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. And not to mention, I went through all this in the backyard. I was being used and abused in the heat just for them to talk bad about me anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.